energy. Living legends are reaching me. Sharing knowledge with you and me. Teaching us how to lead with Sharon Lee. Sharon Lee. Sharon Lee. On the run. Sharon Lee. Sharon Lee. On the run. Yeah. Keep on building that synergy. One month at a time, you and me. Keep on building that synergy. One month at a time, you and me. Keep on building that synergy. One month at a time, you and me. Keep on building that synergy. One month at a time, you and me.
Wait a minute, I gotta get my groove on, guys. Hold on. Move it. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to the Sharon Lee Briefing Podcast Show, third season, third episode, November 21st, 2025. This is going to be one for the books, everybody, okay? So I want y'all to just stop playing right now and start sharing. Get your babies, get your grandbabies, get your sisters and your brothers and your mom and your grandparents, all can come. Okay, this is going to be a show to remember. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome to the podcast show. You know I'm going to be showing off with your mom. I am going to be showing off. But look, guys, before I jump into what this podcast show is going to be about, y'all, if you've come here before, you know how I roll. I always like to give you some, golden rules, okay? And one of the golden rules is to always thank our team. We always come out the gate thanking our team, our engineer, Crystal Glenn, smart video girl, who's been with us for 3 seasons. We are so blessed to have her. I just want to thank you, Chris, for always making us show up professionally, engineering behind the scenes. I want to thank Sean Parker for, doing the music, and Dana, his wife, for doing the music, making sure the lights show up on us all professionally. I want to thank all of my sponsors. I want to thank Lisa Dove Washington, who's always been a part of the Roses planning team. I want to thank, Shayla Cannon for always showing up, letting, Grandma know, hey, we need to ask, your speakers some questions. And most importantly, guys, I want to thank you. You have been amazing over the last 2.5 seasons. Again, we're on our third one. We're doing our podcast now every 2 weeks, right? So that's how we roll. Now, let's get into some administrative steps that I want y'all to be really, really keen in on. Administration step 1. If you're commenting or if you're asking questions over there on YouTube, please do me a favor and put your name in the comments so our guests can know, one, who you are and what questions or comments you're sharing. If you're over in Facebook, do the same thing. Always put your name so we can know who the questions are coming from, so we can give you all a shout out, okay? So guys, I am just so extremely happy to have this amazing legacy, what I call builder, on our podcast show. Once I tell you about the synergy that we have, the connection that we have, and how we connected almost 10 years ago, I think it's going to really blow your mind, because our theme for this podcast is synergy. It's building unlimited connection and adding value to those who are in need of our services. So with that being said, we're going to bring Dr. Hattie on, but we're just going to ask her to give just a little snippet about who she is, which is like where she's from, how many children she has, was she married, just a little snippet, because we're going to ask her questions. We don't want her to give it all. So with that being said, come on in, Dr. Hattie, come on in. That's my girl. She's coming in.
I want the music, so I can hear the music too.
I love it. So yeah,
hello.
First of all, before you get started, I just want to say thank you for hearing the call to always, one, be a mentor of mine, but two, just to, give your valuable time to continue to share your legacy story, because people, when I say are in for a treat, they are in for a treat on so many levels. And I'm just too excited. So please just give the audience a little snippet about who you are. And guys, this is Dr. Hattie in Washington, okay?
Well, you give me a challenge because I wrote a whole book about who I am. So they got to get the book Driven to Succeed and read about it. But I want to say I'm so happy my daughter is here because she's my number one supporter, my number one fan, and we support each other. And I'm just happy that she's here. And that tells you a little bit about who I am. My mother died when I was 3 because she was 29. And so I always try to be the mother that I never had.
Yes, ma'am.
And so with my 2 beautiful daughters, I just feel that they are the blessings of who I am, really,
Yes.
and who I tried to be. So I would just stop there. I was the first person in the family to go to college.
Well, hold on. Don't give them the whole book yet. Not yet.
Okay,
No.
okay.
I want to know where you're from. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
That's my birth certificate, but I never knew Norfolk because by the time my mother died and I was 3, my father had moved to Farmville, Virginia, actually Meharon, Virginia, and he married my stepmother.
Okay.
And I never knew that she was not my biological mother until I was 11.
That's okay. Now,
So,
where are you living now?
I'm in Florida now.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
retired and living in Florida. And that's a whole story as to how I ended up in Florida.
No worries. We're gonna touch on a little bit because we only got an hour show and we want to cover some major stuff today. So we want our audience to be all tuned in and ready to hear your whole legacy. But we're gonna get to it in time. So
you just tell
how
me,
many
you
children?
just guide me along with Sharon Lee.
That's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. So how many children do you have and how many grandchildren do you have? And are you married?
I have 2 2 daughters, Cheryl and Sherelle. And yes, I have been married for 27 years. I have 2 granddaughters who are now, one's finished college and one just entered college.
Awesome. So at one point in time, you used to be a Marylander girl. Now you gotta throw Maryland. You can't talk about, Norfolk and Florida and leave out Maryland. Tell us what you did here in Maryland.
Well, I moved to Maryland after I moved back from Scotland. I was in Scotland for 2.5 years at the University of Glasgow, and my husband at the time was in the Navy, and so we were living in Scotland. So when I moved back to Maryland, I was going back to Norfolk State. That's where I was before I went to Scotland. And then I got the job at the Maryland State Department of Education, and I was there for 8 years supervising superintendents in the state of Maryland who were in charge of Title I schools and Title I programs.
Wonderful. So how long did you live in Maryland?
Oh boy, I came to Maryland in 1983.
Okay.
So I was in Maryland over 30 some years.
That's what I want to hear. Come on now. This podcast show is in Maryland, even though we go national, but we here in Maryland, and Cheryl's here in Maryland, so we got to represent
everything I did in Maryland. My foster boys home, my teaching at Coppin for 22 years, my foster boys home that I ran for 22 years. Actually, Cheryl ran the boys home. In other words, helping to go through the COMA regulations to get it approved. She did all of that as a lawyer, and without her legal skills, we probably wouldn't be open. And I'm so happy she's here. She loves those boys, and they love her to death.
I love it. Well, I tell you what, before we go any further, we have a couple of segments that we like to always do to keep in, format with our show. The first segment is, although you've given a snippet of who you are, we're going to really get into the essence of who you are and what you do in the community. But for those who know me, for those who have been following me since I started Rosa back in 2008, going on 18 years now, I was told by my elders a long time ago, you have to give people what they need. It's one thing to be a speaker, to be an author, to be a coach, to be a business person, but if you can't give someone what they need, they're not going to most likely, support what you do. So I heard that calling a long time ago. And I said to myself, what can I give my legacy speakers who come and, show up on the Sharon Lee Briefing Podcast show? I know what I can do. I can not only have them tell their story, I can show people their story as well. So Dr. Hattie, we have a gift for you and we hope you like it. So our engineer, Chris, is going to bring it up, and I just want you to just take it in and just don't be crying on me, but just take it in, okay?
my goodness, girl. Where did you find all of those pictures?
Just know that your girl got skills. You've already seen me in motion.
Oh my, Cheryl, you see all those pictures? Oh my goodness.
I
You
may not
must have contacted Cheryl.
No, I didn't contact anyone. I may not be an AI expert, but I do love technology. And I
Yet.
do love what technology can do for you. So no, that was created for you this morning, as I mentioned I would do for you, ma'am.
I said yet. You're not an AI consultant yet. Go ahead.
Okay. So guys, I just wanted to say it's nothing like telling your story, but when you can see your story flash between your eyes and the whole world can see your story, that really speaks volumes. That's the legacy gift that I talk about when I say building unlimited connections. I always think about my ancestors who did not have their story told because they didn't have the education or tools or people to really want to invest in their story. But I plan to change that going forward. Again, we've been doing this podcast show for 3 years and I'm excited. So Dr. Hattie, we're going to jump into the second part of this interview, telling your initial story, showing you the video and everything. It's just again a gift from us over here on the Sharon Lee Briefing Podcast show, but we're ready to jump into it. I really want you to, first of all, let our audience feel who you are. And what does that mean? I don't know if you're a baby boomer. I don't know. Yes. Okay, if you're a baby boomer,
yes.
The year that you were born, your childhood, what you've experienced, and in Virginia or the other states that you lived in, share a little bit about that to our audience first, so they can get an essence that you go back since Brown versus Board of Education. So we want to really hear who you are.
Well, yes, I'm a baby boomer. I was born in 1946. And the baby boomers were born 1946 to 1964. So I'm right on the beginning of the baby boomers. And my father had just come from World War II. And of course, my mother died in childbirth and heart problems with my baby brother, who, by the way, passed, I think it's been about a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
My baby brother. So my father married my stepmother, who had 6 kids already when he married her. And there were 4 of us. I have one older sister and one younger sister and my brother. And my 2 sisters still living. And so in 1959, when they closed the schools in Virginia, there was the Brown versus Board of Education, the landmark case everybody knows about, was passed in 1954. And the schools were supposed to integrate. So Prince Edward County in Virginia decided they're not going to integrate. So they passed a state law, like they're doing in some states now, passed a state law to make it legal that they didn't have to integrate. And they called that the massive resistance to the Brown versus Board of Education. So they closed the schools down for 5 years. So from 1959, I was 11 years old then, in the 5th grade. So they closed my 2-room schoolhouse, and there were only two rooms. Mrs. Brown taught kindergarten to 4th grade. Mr. White taught 5th grade to 8th grade. And the other schools in the different other counties were mostly white, because all of us went to Levi Elementary Schools, and then from there we went to our Moton High School in Farmville, Virginia. So when they closed the schools in 1959, my father had to decide what we were going to do, because he was part of the NAACP. So he knew more. We didn't know what was going on. We just know we weren't going to school that September. And he decided that he's going to send us, the 4 of us, were siblings, to Norfolk to stay with my biological mother's sister. Now, I had never met her, although they said I met her once. She came down to the country one time, and if I think back, maybe I did, but I don't remember her. And the 6 that my stepmother had, they came to Baltimore to stay with some of her relatives when the schools
Okay.
closed. So broke the family up. And so that's when we started asking, so why the 4 of us going to Norfolk and the 6 of our brothers and sisters going to Baltimore?
Mm.
And that's when we found out, oh, you're going to stay with your mother's sister. And he said, my mother, isn't she my mother? And so that's your stepmother. And that's when everything just like, in your mind, things start flashing like, what?
Yes, yes.
My mother's sister, and you're not my mother, you're my stepmother. The only stepmother I ever knew was Cinderella, and she was a bad, mean stepmother, but she was sweet as she could be. She was a sweetheart. I loved her to, just dearly.
Wonderful.
And then to find out she's not my mother. And so anyway, it was just traumatizing.
I understand.
All of that at once. You're leaving your family. You're going to stay with strangers. This is not your mother. And it was like, and I went into a shell. I didn't want to make any friends in Norfolk. I just didn't want to be taken away from friends and family again. And then my aunt, it really wasn't interested in education because she never came out to any PTA meetings, never came out for any activities of school. And that's one of the reasons I have not missed an activity of my kids. My 2 daughters,
Yes,
I was there for everything because I never had anyone coming out for anything that I was in.
I
And
understand.
that's a pain that you can't explain when everybody else got the families there and you don't have anybody.
Well, I tell you what, I totally understand. I totally feel you. I had mentioned to you earlier that you and I have some things in common because I'm from the country as well. Not as far as Norfolk, Calvert County, Maryland, which people laugh at me because they're like, Sharon, it's only 45 minutes from Washington, D.C. but at the end of the day, my mom didn't drive. I was stuck in the wilderness in Calvert County, and I felt like I was raising myself. So I understand the pain. Unfortunately, my mom had some challenges because she grew up in a and I don't like to use the word racist, but it was back there in the country in Calvert that she had challenges and she just didn't, develop her skills the way that I knew she could or would. Plus she drank. So it forced my family basically to raise ourselves. But, this is not going to be a, oh, woe is me, podcast because the stories that we have on how we overcame those challenges.
Yes, absolutely.
Is what I want this audience to know, because I'm sure, most everyone who's watching this podcast from around the world, this is an international podcast show. I'm sure someone can relate to, yes, I've gone through some challenges as a child as well. Yes, I was traumatized when I was a little girl. I'm still traumatized in some ways. So I'm sure people can relate to that. But age 5 stood out for me with you because in my book, I called True Synergy Work, Leading Within, the 7 defining principles of knowing yourself to birth greatness. I talked about being 5 years old, playing on the church ground in Calvert County, Maryland, asking God, why was it that people of color weren't liked by others? And this was during the same year that Dr. Martin Luther King got assassinated, because that's the year that I was, 5 years old in 1968. So I wrote about it, and it was so much, of a release just to share that it wasn't our fault. We were babies. We had no idea what was going on around us in society. It's like a lot of babies being born today don't have a clue of what's going on in society, but it's up to us, who I call legacy seekers and builders, to share their story, to tell a difference. So let's go on now. And thanks for sharing that background, because I wanted
you're so right. How you can turn a glass half empty into half full.
Yes.
And that's what I strive to do when I raised my 2 kids. I did not want them to feel neglected or alone or not having anyone out there in the audience for them or supporting them. So I pretty much had to build my own plane while I was flying it. I didn't know how to go to college. I didn't know what to do. And one of the things that I did with my daughters, I became the PTA president from, I think, grade 6 all the way to 12th grade, because not only did I want to be there for my kids, I wanted to be there for other kids who didn't have parents.
And that's a testament. So let me ask you a question. And we're going to just kind of keep in with the flow of who you are. So I got it, that you had to go live with your aunt. Okay, tell us what happened after that. What schools did you go to? How did you? I'm sure you were a straight A student, and just tell us about that from the time you went to live with your aunt.
Yeah, I was a straight A student down in the country, and then when I went to stay with her, I went to Jaycox. It was called middle school then. That was from grade 6 through 8.
Okay.
And I remember from a 2-room schoolhouse, you don't have bells. I mean, we just had to ring the bell, the cowbell when you go out to recess and come in. But then you had to change classes, and you had the bells ringing. And it's like, oh my God, all these kids. And so I was, I don't know, culture shock and traumatized. But I went through all of that. And it was so interesting. All the way through high school, I didn't smile. Very, very rarely did I smile. Even the photographer who came to take pictures every year, he would spend so much time telling me, smile, smile. And I would just look at him like, why am I smiling? They took me from my home. All my family's back there. I don't know anyone here. My aunt never comes out. So don't tell me to smile, man. Just take the picture. So, and every year he gets to me, he said, smile. After about the 9th grade, he just stopped asking me to smile. Just like, click up. So if you look at my pictures, my junior high school picture and my high school picture, I'm just looking.
Oh, wow.
And I talk about this story in one of a piece that I wrote about the smile. Yes, when I finally smiled, I was in high school, I was in the 12th grade, and that's because the photographer took it upon himself and his wife that they picked me for the debutantes.
Okay.
And they got my hair done, and I took ballroom dance lessons. I did all, and she got my gown. And I don't know why they picked me out of all the kids, but he was determined that he was going to get me to smile.
So look, we have Dr. I'm sorry to cut you off. We have Dr. Lori on, and Dr. Lori is from Oklahoma, and I just want to point out her little comment. Just take the picture. Yeah, it's almost like anime. Just eat the cake.
No,
I told y'all we like to have fun, we like to learn, and we like to lead over here. So Dr. Lori, stop it.
Yeah, but just take the picture, man.
Let me ask you.
Just take the picture, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So let me ask you, because I want to really get to our topic. Our topic, of course, is AI and how we're going to talk about teachers and how you help teachers, and we're going to talk about how you can help all understand AI. But I want to catch people up to more about who you are. So we talked about you in the elementary school. We talked about you a little bit in middle school and high school. Now let's jump into your profession. Let's deal with your profession.
I graduated from high school, Booker T. Washington High School in Norfolk, and then went to Norfolk State. So we can just put a pin in that.
Okay, wonderful. So let's move forward now you have gone through all of these challenges through your childhood. You still remain to be an excellent, in academics. Where did that lead you? Where did your professional career come into play, and what was your professional career?
Well, when I went to Norfolk State, I majored in teaching because Mrs. Brown in the 2-room schoolhouse, who taught grades kindergarten to 4th grade, I was so impressed with how she did that. And she used me to teach some of the other kids. And one day when Mr. White was out, he taught 5th grade to 8th grade. She chose me, I was in the 4th grade, to teach the 5th grade through the 8th grade.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, me? And so, but anyway, she knew I had some teaching skills. So that encouraged me to go into teaching at Norfolk State. Wonderful. And after I went there, when I graduated, I was teaching special education because my minor was in special ed. and I was teaching special ed. And because my kids did so well in special ed, these were the worst kids, learning problems, behavior problems. And I did so well with those kids until they started sending the student teachers over to watch what I was doing. It's like, watching this, those kids, she got those kids hypnotized.
Oh, wow.
There's something going on in that classroom, and I need you to find out what it is. And they would come and watch. I had like 12 special ed kids, and I had 10 student teachers sitting around my classroom.
Wow.
Well, then my professor said, Washington, instead of us trying to send you 10 student teachers, why don't you come to the university and teach? And I thought, oh, no, I want my kids. I don't want to be at the university. So they convinced me to do it for 1 year.
Okay.
And then 1 year became 2 years. And then finally they said, why don't you just come over? And this is at Norfolk State. Okay. And that's how I got to Norfolk State. And my advisor said, okay, you're going to start working on your PhD. I said, oh, no, I don't want a PhD. I just want to teach my kids. But anyway, I started working on the PhD, was at Norfolk State for 3 years. And then my husband got transferred overseas. We were in Greece first for 2.5 years. And then we came back. And then we were back for 4 or 5 years. And I was teaching at Norfolk State. Then got transferred to Scotland.
Wow. And
I was supposed to come back to Norfolk State, but went through Maryland, and my father was friends with the president of the city council, or she was running for city council. Okay. And she wanted me, she said, we want you in Maryland. And I thought, oh, yeah, right. So she would go down and talk to this person. And I did, because I thought, I got a job at Norfolk State already. So I went down to talk to the Maryland State Department of Education on the Thursday. She said, I want you to start work on Monday.
Wow.
And that's how I got at the Maryland State Department of Education.
Wonderful. So what led you to Compton University? How did that transpire?
Okay. When I left the Maryland State Department of Education, I went to teach at Bowie for 2 years.
Okay.
And then I left Bowie and went to be the assistant superintendent of schools for Baltimore City.
Okay.
And then I wrote a grant because Baltimore City was in a consent decree, meaning they were being sued by the federal government because they weren't serving special education kids and Title I kids.
Okay.
So since I used to evaluate superintendents, I thought, okay, I can help Baltimore City out because I know all the regulations. So they were in a consent decree for 10 years. So my boss, Dr. Empress, said, Washington, figure it out. And the mayor, Kurt Schmoke, had taken the school over because the federal government said, okay, we're taking the school out of the superintendent's hand. We're going to let the mayor run it. So when I was brought in to get Baltimore City out of a consent decree, I worked with the mayor and the federal government monitor. So it was a national shortage. So how are you going to get out of consent decree, provide the services if there's a national shortage of special education teachers? So I said to the monitor, are you all really want to solve this problem, or are you just going to be reporting back to the federal government and nothing is happening? She said, oh, no, we really want to solve it. I said, because I have an idea. So she said, well, what is it? It's called creating your own winners.
Wow.
She said, tell me more about it. Meaning that you give me some money, I'm going to take the regular teachers who got an elementary education degree, give them a master's degree in special education free, because you're going to give me the money. And then they're going to commit to teaching at least 5 special education kids in their classroom for 5 years. So you're going to
everybody that power of 5. Y'all know that. Come on.
There you go. I figured you were like, so, but anyway, make a long story short, it was a cohort of 20 a year for 5 years.
Wow.
So they gave me the money for that. And it went from many teachers said, I don't want to teach those kids. You can't make me. I don't want to do that. Because the federal law was coming saying that you're going to integrate, you're not going to have self-contained classes anymore. So the federal law was coming, and it's going to be no more special ed contained classroom. So the teacher was saying, I don't want to teach those kids. I got a degree in elementary education. If I wanted a degree in special ed, I would have gotten it. So they were just up and down. So once I got the grant, and I only wanted 20 per year, oh, I wanted to be one. I love those special ed kids. Oh, I got a nephew special education. So, but anyway, it turned out being, so we did, that's how I got to Compton. I got the grant with Compton State University and Baltimore City Schools. So I went to Compton for 1 year, supposedly, to get the grant off of the ground, designed the curriculum, and I taught the classes. Then after 2 years, I was going to go back to Baltimore City Schools, but I said, I can get some more money from the federal government. I said, why don't you give me money to train the teacher aides? Give them a BS degree in special ed.
Wow.
And we're getting more teachers. I'm creating my own winners.
I love it.
So we got that grant, and I was at Compton State for 2 more years, and the president was seeing what I was doing. He liked it. He said, why should I need you to be my special assistant?
So how many years were you at Compton?
At Compton State, a total of 22 years.
Whoa, everyone. Y'all catching that? Did y'all hear that legacy story? Did you hear that? Well, look, we're gonna pause for a second because I gotta take care of some administrative action. We need to get some advertisement going on in here. And we need to get some winners in here because we love to give gifts. Just for those who don't know, I'm always doing history trivia. I do it with my family, my kids, my grandkids. I always, have them to watch the podcast show, whatever they learn in reference to history. If they can, the first one who get it, the first one get a little monetary gift. So just know that this is no joke. I am not only just, hopefully educating the world, but I'm also hoping to educate my family as well about just who all these amazing, amazing people are. And I'm going to lead in with a video that I want Chris to bring up. But guys, I just want to first of all say thank you for those who jump over just for maybe a second or so to look at the newsletter that we send out about the podcast. Just know that I see you. I appreciate you. You've been following us for years. When I say years, I'm saying as far back as 2008, when we started using Constant Contact and all of our platforms to connect with people. When I tell you, Dr. Hattie, you have people who have heard about your story all over the world. Just in our newsletter, it goes out internationally and people respond. They look at it. I'm just amazed that they still follow me through my newsletter. But with that being said, I would like Chris to bring up that promo video. And if you see your name in there, I just want you to know personally, I'm thanking you. If you don't see your name in there, guys, blame it on the head, not the heart, because I'm only one person. Okay. But just know that I do thank you for opening up the newsletter, for reading it, and for reading it over these years that we've been, just promoting what we do here at this grassroots organization called Remembering Our Ancestors Synergistic Association. So on you, Chris, if you could bring it up, please. Oh, wow. So Dr. Hattie, let me say something with you. And I want to thank, thank you, my dear. We love you too. Thank you. That means so much to us because I tell you, the work that we do behind, and put your actual name in the comments so I can know who I am talking to. Okay. I don't think I know you by your I guess social media name, but let me know who I'm talking to. But yeah, we've been working behind the scenes for years. I'm a baby boomer as well. And the irony about this podcast, Dr. Hattie just came into the baby boomer era when it started. I came in a year before it ended. So it is very, very, thank you, Dr. Johnson. I love this. This lady came to our first Rosa's retreat in Washington, D.C. in the historic LaFont Plaza Hotel back in 2013.
Oh, wow.
When we did our first unconditional love retreat. This is my girl, Dr. Tanya Johnson. The stuff that she's doing is amazing. But guys, I just want to say to y'all, the names that you all saw pop up on the screen. Let me just tell you about True Synergy, guys. At least 95% of those names are those who are running their own businesses. They have their own leadership legacy platform. They are leading people all over the world and country. So when I say God allowed me to build some true synergy over the years, y'all don't even have a clue the power of the synergy that just popped up on the screen, just of the few names that showed up. My contact list is over 1,100 people that I send out newsletters to, but I've been meeting wonderful people since I went to the Black Enterprise Women Conference in Charlotte, 2006 or 7? So it's a whole story right there by itself, and I'm not going to take up any more time, but just know that when I asked if you could be a guest on the podcast show, and when we take the time to create that newsletter, to create video promos, to text you, to inbox you, just know that the whole world is seeing it. Who reacts is who reacts, but it's going international. So, yeah. Dr. Hattie, let's go back to the reason why you're here.
So, do I need to finish up the Baltimore City?
No, because
okay,
we'll go back to it in a little bit. But what I don't, because we only got an hour. Okay. And I know I could listen to you for hours. You know, as I did when I went to Jacksonville, Florida, to your beautiful home. But just know that we want to focus on the topic, because I know a lot of people want to know what the heck is AI as it relates to what it can do for teachers. I got to be transparent with you. I am an introvert. I am a thinker. I don't like anything or nothing thinking from me. Okay. I'm not good with a lot of, high-end words. So yes, AI can help me with that. But I love to have my own mind as I promote, as I strategize, as I plan, because I want to make sure that I'm understanding what I'm doing before someone tells me what I'm doing. But that's just me, because I'm an introvert. Extroverts may not have time for it because they already got their hands in so many pots, and they may need someone to spit out real quickly what they may need. I'm just not that person. So, but I want you to tell me about your third book, AI Made Easy for Teachers. Tell us about when you started that book, why you started that book, and who are you teaching it to right now?
Actually, I had started the book before there was a lot of talk about AI, because teaching teachers for 22 years at the university, I've always been a high-tech type of teacher. I always believe in using tech. Even 30 years ago, before anything was talked about, I was using computers, the old big heavy computers, teaching special education kids. And those kids who are considered hyperactive could sit at the computer for hours. And I'm thinking, if they're truly hyperactive, they wouldn't be able to sit at the computer that long and get entrenched in something. So I've been doing technology ever since teaching at Coppin State, making my teachers use technology to present.
Okay.
But mainly during COVID, when I had a lot of my teachers calling me saying, Dr. Washington, I've got to teach these kids and I don't know technology. I don't know how to reach them. I don't know how to do this, that, and the other. So they knew the pedagogy if they were in the classroom, but now trying to do it on Zoom and whatever they were using. So I started working with just my teachers who would call me, and I would help one or two. Then they'd tell others, I just talked to Dr. Washington. She helped me to do it. And then I had about 60 teachers calling me saying, tell me now how to do Zoom. And I would take them through how to do Zoom and how to do this, that, and the other. And then I got into the programs, teaching them how to teach kids to have fun while they're doing critical thinking. With all these types of games, and I'm doing all this research on Zoom, on Google. Give me some activities where I can use, and come to find out many of those activities were in AI. GBT before it was becoming popular. So I had collected about 50, 60, 75 different tools that I was telling my teachers to use this for a kid who's behind, use this for math, use this for a kid who's emotionally disturbed, use this for kids who are kind of quiet, and I call it SEL, social emotional learners. So before I knew it, I just got all of these tools, AI tools that I have been collecting, helping my teachers. So I was going to write a book anyway, just talking about effective teaching strategies. But then I
Okay.
said, no, let me wrap all of that around AI. So when I wrote the book, I had in mind my teachers that I've taught over 3,000 kids, not kids, teachers in 22 years. So I had
Okay.
my teachers in mind. Then I was a teacher. I thought, well, maybe if I had this when I was teaching, I could reach more kids. So the book came out of COVID. And then after COVID was over, I still had my teachers calling me, and now I'm back in the classroom. So now, how do I get these kids to catch up? Now they're behind, and now I'm in the classroom. So how can I? So I then start telling them about use this tool, ChatGPT. Why don't you use Magic Schools? And these are the steps to get into Magic Schools. These are the 10 steps how you get into this and personalized learning. Use this particular tool, Gemini, and let the kids have fun writing their own books. This is the 10 steps for Gemini. And the next thing I know, oh my God, I got a book. And
Wow.
so that's the book. It's hands-on, step by step. It's called Made Easy because many of my teachers didn't even know AI at all or technology, not to mention AI. They didn't know technology. So I had to start with technology literacy and then wrap that around the pedagogy, and then wrap that around this Maryland state standards that the kids
Mm.
are tested on. And so what I do now with school systems, I did a presentation in Indiana for the
Yes.
professor at Purdue University.
Yes, ma'am.
They didn't even know that the Indiana's Department of Education had changed their whole curriculum.
Wow.
It was in beta testing. It was going to be rolled out this year, and I had gotten the new standards, and I was saying to them, these are your new standards. And they were saying, what? You mean? But anyway, I said, that's what I do. I used to work at the Maryland State Department of Education. So I know what the standards are. I know what they're going to be for the next 5 years. And so they were so impressed. And then I told them what tools to use for each of the standards.
Well, I tell
And
you
then I
what,
told them not only what tools to use for the new standards, but what students would best benefit from those standards, whether special ed kids, emotionally disturbed kids, gifted kids, or even regular kids. And they was like, whoa, they were blown away.
well, I tell you what, this is totally amazing, guys. So I definitely hope you all are hearing this. I hope you are sharing it with your children, your grandchildren. I just hope you're sharing it with, teachers because and I mentioned this to Dr. Hattie through our numerous conversations because she's like, Sharon, with all the stuff that you're doing, how are you able to do that? And I said, I like to work smart, but I didn't realize it was AI that I was working smart with. Okay. I just realized that I had the brain to be creative and throw in certain techniques to kind of brand my platform. So for example, there's Canva. A lot of people use Canva for
That's AI.
marketing today. And I didn't realize for years that Canva was AI.
Yeah.
Well, I took Canva, I connected it with, social media and start creating videos. And I do, just like Final Cut and iMovie and creating websites. And it's like, oh my God.
That's AI.
People used to spend, when I say hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing, with my analytical, introverted brain, I can take a couple of hours and I got a whole platform. Okay. But I'm using AI that I didn't think I had the capability to do because I am an introvert. I like to sit down, I like to read, I like to write. But when it came to creativity, I was like, who is that person?
But you see, a lot of people are like that. And I call it receptive knowledge versus expressive knowledge. A lot of times people got creativity and they don't know the habit. And if you don't know what you don't know, you need a teacher or you need a tool to bring that out. And see, that's what those AI tools do. When I connect the tool to a particular need of a student and I give the teacher the right prompt to put into that tool to reach that particular kid, then they say, oh my God, that is that kid. Because I also give them a prompt as to how to get ChatGPT to know that kid. There's certain questions I have them to answer ChatGPT about that particular kid. Now, you know that because your kid has an IEP. So you already know about that kid because you got to write those individual IEPs every 6 weeks.
Wow.
So
we have a question in the comments, Dr. Hattie. It says, would your book be useful to homeschool parents?
My book will be so useful for not only teachers, even though it says teachers, it'll be for homeschool parents, it'll be for parents. My next book that's coming out in January is AI Toolkit for Parents. But in this particular book, I have a workbook in this book for teachers to give to the students and for them to give to the parents. And so guys, it's not just for teachers, but I have integrated in this book a workbook that can be for the teachers to do and for the use for the kids and then for the parents. So yes, this book, I tried to make my books all inclusive, even though it's for teachers, but it's also for parents as well as homeschooling.
I have my copy. I got my little purple bookmark. I got my girl. Y'all know I love my girl here, right? So I got her, and I definitely use this book, and we'll learn more about it. But this book is now Amazon bestseller, right?
Amazon bestseller in 4 different categories.
Oh wow!
Not just one, in 4 different categories.
That's amazing. So look, Dr. Hattie, we got to do some more commercials here because I know we can get into it. But look, guys, I showed you all the video earlier of all those business people who've been connecting with us over the years. But I do want to introduce something to you. And I'm talking to every business owner. I'm talking to every professional that has worked with me in some form or fashion at our, we did 10 conferences from 2013 all the way up to 2023. We took a little break here for 2024 and 25 because we're rebranding. And now that we made the connection with you, we are starting a new platform to build synergy. And we're going to be doing annual galas. And the galas is going to be around our signature program called the Rosa Youth Empowerment Series, pronounced RISE. So I want Chris to bring up the flyer for the December 20th event that we're going to have here in Maryland. Here it is. Thank you, Chris. We got our next generation, Tanique, we call her Tony Parker, and we got our event planner. Her name is Lydia Mason. They are team members on our team connecting with the next generation, guys. They're going to be helping us pull this event together on December 20th at the Ella Ray's Cafe. We are looking for at least 30 professionals who can join us from 4 to 7 p.m. Hear about what we're going to be doing in 2026 to celebrate our 10th year in running our signature program called RISE, the Rosa Youth Empowerment Program, and work with us as we plan the gala. So we want you to be in the trenches of it with us. And if you got a business, a product, you got, if you're an author, if you're a coach, you're a speaker, we want you to come out, have dinner with us. There's a buffet style. You got to pay for your dinner, and gratuities and everything. But believe me, you're going to get a wealth of information about how we build synergy in the community for our targeted audience, which is the next generation. This is the reason why I say to people, you don't want to miss this podcast because opportunities will be unlimited. I'm already getting professional business people to sign up. I look forward to more. We're looking for the professionals. We're looking for team members. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for partners. Okay, we're looking for y'all to come together so that we won't ever forget one of the key factors in life, which is history, will repeat itself. And if you're not prepared to really unify and stay unified, you'll be in a position like a lot of unfortunate people are today who unfortunately lost their government jobs due to whatever insaneness is going on. I will share, Dr. Hattie, how I'm so glad that you are our guest today on so many different levels as you talk about your journey from the 50s to 60s to 70s to 80s, you went through a lot of those eras where opportunity was not readily available for the disadvantaged and underserved. Who knew, Dr. Hattie, seven decades later, that history will repeat itself and sometimes in the worst possible way? I want you to speak to that because people don't get it. I know a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't understand that the clock has been taken back. The DEI programs that used to be in place are gone. There's government agencies right now where certain civil rights offices are being dismantled as we speak. People, and I don't like to preach, but it's happening in our lifetime. Okay. And we need to be conscious and aware of how our community is going to be impacted, because it's not a matter anymore on if it's going to happen. It has happened. Our worst nightmare has come to play out, that we're being taken back to where we got to go back to another form of civil rights, injustice, So Dr. Hattie, talk about that for a little bit.
When they closed my schools in 1959, I didn't know anything about racism. We just knew that we weren't supposed to go to school. As a matter of fact, we had some white neighbors and we used to play together, even though we went to different schools, but they didn't live too far, just over the hill. So we would play together and they didn't know anything about racism. And we didn't know anything about racism. And I remember when they closed the schools, and I was getting ready to be sent away, and we met with the white kids, and we were saying, we're getting ready to get sent away. They're closing our schools. They didn't know either. And then the white kid said to us, well, my parents said that we can't talk together anymore. We can't play together anymore. And we said, why? They said, I don't know. So they didn't know either. But what is so interesting, many of those kids now are grown.
Yes.
And some of those kids are involved with some of the racism type of things, but I think it's not from their heart. I think it's from their head, because they grew up hearing the family calling Black people the N-word and discriminating. And I think they just kind of fell in with the group. But if you talk to a person one-to-one and they become your friend, they will spill the bean over what the grandparents said and what the parents said, because in their heart, they're not like that. I think they had to survive in the world of being racism, and I could be talking completely out of whack, but I have met a lot of white people. I got a lot of white friends.
Yes,
most of my supporters for my foster boys home were my white friends.
Yes, ma'am.
And some were Republicans.
Wow. Yes,
and
ma'am.
So, the heart is the heart. And so, like some of my foster boys used to say, I don't like white people. And I said, why not? Because the police, this, and the only white people they maybe have met were a police officer who's arresting them. And then once they meet my vice president, who's white male, who's a retired pediatrician, then it's, oh, we don't like white people except Dr. Uncle Lauren. Then they meet Laura, except Aunt Laura, then except Uncle Jeff. So when they get to 10 white people that they accept this one, except that, I don't like white people, except, then I said, stop saying that. Because it's the heart of the person. So now that was your upbringing. You only saw white people as police officers, or now you got these 10, at least 10, and many of when I have my galas, I have at least 40 to 50% white people and African American people. So it's a thing that you have to train people between the heart and the head. And I still have hope that this country has more people with a good heart, even though they're doing bad things and they're doing things trying to get along because they're afraid for their families, because they've been threatened or whatever reason. I just feel that the heart in the end is going to overrule all of the stuff that's going on. That's just what I truly believe.
And thank you for sharing that, because I'm gonna tell you, I used to think it was about color. I realized in my senior age that it is about color, but the color is not what we think the color is. Okay, the color is green. Okay, the color is green. The color is green. I'm gonna say it again. The color is green. And if you get played, on that green color, you're going to get played, and unfortunately your babies and your grandbabies are going to be like, oh, woe is me, what is going on in this crazy world? The color is green. Money and power is what's driving a lot of confusion, chaos, and people not thinking from their heart. Okay.
Yes.
That's what's really happening. And those who are loving and who really love from their heart, we're getting caught up in that craziness because we don't understand our history. We can't go back and say, oh yeah, I know how this happened during the civil rights era. Oh, I know how that happened during the Jim Crow era. Oh, I know how that happened during the March on Washington. I know how that happened during the black what is it? God, I can't. It just happened. Black Lives Matter. I can't. I can't forget all of the eras that caused people to come together. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, you name it. We all came together for the benefit of our community, for the benefit of our next generation. And we're not playing that game. That's why when I did my first conference, it was called the Unconditional Love Retreat. We knew what was going to happen to the community, and we wanted to love on all people all the time, but we were also loving and working for the benefit of our people. That's right, Dr. Tanya. The heart is the end is given to the overrule all that other stuff is going on. You're absolutely right. No doubt about it. We don't play, bully games. We don't play those bully games, and don't get caught up in it, guys. Don't believe all the time what you hear. Look at people's heart and look at their action. Dr. Hattie has been proving her actions for decades. She has been investing her time for decades, guys. She is 1 year away from being a traditional, right? So she came in an era of the baby boomers who were picking up the torch from the traditionals to be able to lead the millennials, the Generation X, the Z's, and the God knows how many millennials now. But just know that we will work together. And I will say, don't sleep on the next generation. Just like our sweetheart, Dr. Tanya Johnson is in here. That's a powerhouse. I call her my next generation. She's out there making some legacy move that's going to blow your mind. Don't sleep on them, that they're not watching us, learning from us, overcoming challenges that we have dealt with while dealing with some of the issues in today's time. But they are staying focused. They're getting their education, they're getting their degrees, they're getting their professions, and they are marching, and they're marching with their experience in life, not the drama that everyone wants to perpetuate to separate us. So I just want to pause right there. I know we're 1 minute over, but I want Chris to show your video again, because I want to leave people with a visual on who this queen is. My mentor.
You're going to make me cry again.
my mentor, who has my grandmother's first name, Hattie, that I never met. And I never met my grandmother, just like you never met your mom. I never met my grandparents on my father or my mom's side. But when I met you, Dr. Hattie, through Dr. Frances Luckett Hunter, when she did that book event at her house, it just changed my world, because it was destined that you and I stay connected. And just to have you share your legacy story, it just warms my heart. So Chris, if you could show Dr. Hattie's video again. Thank you, Chris. Dr. Hattie, I'm gonna say something.
Oh,
You got,
goodness. Great.
you got the magic ingredients. You got history, you have cooking, and you have technology. That is your, I don't like to call you girl magic, but that is your everything queen magic. Okay. You got all three: legacy, food, and technology. How do people purchase your books?
Oh, girl. Mm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And you're going to ask me to talk after that?
I'm sorry. You got the ingredient. You got the secret ingredients. That's what it's all about, people. That's true
Well, the
legacy.
word is ingredients. But first, let me give how they can reach me, but I need to say something about you, young lady. They can go to my website, and the website for the book is www.ai toolkit, the number 4 teachers.ai. That's an AI URL. It's www.ai toolkit number 4 teachers.ai. And the other one is www.driven the number 2 succeed.com. So either one of those can take you right to my website, as well as my Driven store with all my merchandise, and for the Driven to Succeed teachers book, as well as my Driven to Succeed book.
Thank you, Dr. Hattie. Thank you.
In each of the books, you can get the audio book, you can get the paperback, the hardback. The Driven to Succeed book is in Spanish, and I'm getting ready to translate the AI book in an audio book, and also in Spanish and in French, because all over the world people need AI. So I'm going to have those books translated into Spanish, French, and German, because
Wonderful.
that's where my audience are. When I look at my report at the end of the year, I got people buying my book from Japan, Germany, Spanish, Spain, and also France. So I want to have AI available in any language so people can know that AI is here to help you make your life easier, not
Exactly.
harder. And I teach you step by step. And I'm going to be designing a course that I will be teaching based on my book. So if you get my book, you're just that far ahead. By the time the parent book comes out and the student book comes out, you already know some of the tools that you can be familiar with to make your life easier.
Thank you very much, dear. We totally appreciate that. I know as we plan for 2026 and as we use our technology skills to, help the community, because that's really what it's all about. I just want to thank you, Dr. Hattie, for being my mentor again. I want to thank you for believing in me all of these years. I want to thank you for just inviting me into your home back in June to bring a different platform that I do. So when I talk about building synergy, it's not just Rosa. We support American Mothers, who's a national organization who recognize moms from all over the country, who will be in Maryland, no, I'm sorry, Virginia in 2026 in May. So I want
McLean.
you to register to become attendees. I am happy to share that Dr. Hattie was nominated for Florida Mother of the Year. And we hoping that she gets that recognition. It has to go through a vetting process, and there may be other nominees, but I can't say, I'm on the board, so I got to be very careful. I can't say anything other than there's a process, and all nominees get an equal chance. And when we find out who the winner is, we will let you all know. So, Dr. Hattie, just know, thank you for all that you've done for me. Thank you, for coming out when I placed a call back to you in 2016. Again, a synergy moment. You came to the Department of Housing and Urban Development as a key speaker for the Blacks in Government chapter. You brought your book then, and you your story, and that's in your video presentation. So we're going to give you that video presentation as a gift that you can
Oh,
share
wonderful.
with your family as a legacy gift going forward. Just know that we would love to have you partner with us for our gala in 2026. We would love for you to help us with some planning initiatives as we move forward, because you've done galas. Like this will be Rosa's first gala that we're going to do in 2026. So we hope we
Ooh,
have your support. We may want to come to Florida and bring some business women with us to brainstorm, if that's okay with you.
that would be something I would just enjoy. You have to get together on a relaxed level. That's when your mind can start germinating creative ideas when you're not under a lot of pressure. And so
Yes.
I would love for to come and do that. But can I have just a few seconds to say something just about you? When you finish everything else, I just want to say something about you.
Well, look, bring it. I'm ready.
Well, I don't know exactly how our paths cross, but the Lord always puts people in your path at the right time. And when you came to the book club that they were sponsoring my book, and then right after that, we just connected. It was something about you that I connected. And I look at young women like you, like my daughters, because I
Mhm.
have a daughter about your age who is a physician, and then Cheryl, who's an attorney.
Mm.
And I'm always pushing young people. When I see young people with something, some talent that they may not even know they have, and I saw you that way. You were always doing stuff. You were always busy, activity. And I was saying, okay, Sharon, you got a lot of skills. You got a lot of talent. You and got 9, 10 things going on at the same time.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let's focus on what we need to do, because I need you to do this, that, and that. I want you to go back and finish. You get that master's degree. I want you to get that
Yes.
PhD, because a
Yes.
lot of things you're doing can be your product of your master's degree, could be
Yes.
your practicum for your PhD. Because a lot of stuff you're doing, you're just doing it from your heart.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're putting your money out there personally when you could have a
Personally.
501c3 and be getting donations. So I saw all of that in you, and I just took you under my wing. I said, that's my girl. I have to try to help her tone in, focus in, and get that stuff done, because you can work yourself to death with the right heart,
Yeah.
but if it's not monetized, you just putting your own money in, just like I cashed in my retirement when I opened up the foster boys home, because I never thought I was going to live to be this old, because my mother died when she was 29.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I thought I was going to live past to be 60, I may not have turned in my retirement.
Yes.
But I never look back and say, my birthday, I'll be 80 years old. I never thought I would live this long.
Oh,
And
God.
so now I'm retired, and the Lord has just blessed me and blessed me and blessed me.
Well,
So I want you to make sure all of the beautiful things you got with your heart and your head, I'm there for you.
thank
I'm
you.
there to support you. My
Thank
daughter is there.
thank
She is my number one fan, both of my daughters, but this is my
you.
baby here. And
Yes.
so everything I am, she
We
is
love
there.
you, Cheryl.
That's my
Look, she's going to be on hopefully she can be on a podcast for us too, because she's doing some
she
amazing things
should
in
be in
Baltimore.
her own right. All the
Oh my
stuff she's
God.
doing, you need to hear about the stuff she's doing.
She's amazing.
And she is
Well,
absolutely amazing. So
well,
you need to hear about the stuff she's doing. But anyway, just keep on doing what you're doing. It's my honor to be on your
thank
show. And I
you.
don't know whatever I can do to support you. Just let me know. God is good.
Thank you, guys. I tell you, we're like 13 minutes over, but we're gonna go another couple of minutes, because we ain't stopping here. This is what it's all about. This is what true synergy, guys, is all about. When the book was written in 2017, True Synergy Work, Leading Within, the 7 Defining Principles of Knowing Yourself to Birth Greatness, guys, that was done intentionally. This whole strategic process of what Dr. Hattie just said, I'm doing 10 things, but I mentioned to you earlier, Dr. Hattie, those 10 things that I'm doing, believe me, it's not a lot of work. The reason why it's not a lot of work, because God has allowed me to work with people like you and others all over the country who makes it easy. I understand that I'm a grassroots organization. I understand marketing one-on-one is you got to get people to know who you are. If people don't know who you are, they don't know what your mission is, they don't know what your purpose is, they're not going to support you. So yes, I bit the bullet and I said, you know what? I'm going to use all that God has put in me to say to them, look, know who you are, know where you come from, understand that history will repeat itself. And if I had to spend every dime I had in my pocket without any of these, accolades or whatever, I would do that because it means that much to me. I don't like what's happening to our kids. I don't like what's happening to our grandkids. I don't care about my accolades. I care about making an impact in the world so that our kids don't have to go through what we went through. They don't have to go through what your mom went through, your grandmom and your granddad and your dad. They don't have to go through all of the issues that's impacting our community today. I told you I can preach now. So I just want to say that it is all about our community. It's all about our next generation. It's all about our babies. And I need you all to hear that and feel that from me and come on board and support what we do here at Rosa for our youth program, to be a part of our gala in 2026. Dr. Hattie, I want you to stay behind because we're going to do some photos in the green room. But I do want Chris to take us out with my theme song. So I want you to leave us on the screen while we get our little dance on. And then we're going to go all the way out. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving for everyone. And get my cookbook so you can have a good Thanksgiving meal.
Yes.
Synergy, energy, living legends are reaching me, sharing knowledge with you and me, teaching us how to lead with Sharon Lee.